And we request Madam to speak about nutrition and ECD and her thoughts on this. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the patient hearing.
I can use this.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, all the dignitaries on the dais and all the functionaries who have come over here, wish you all the best, and I hope you will take home good memories of this conference today. Actually, I wanted to tell you mostly on what is the importance of nutrition in terms of, up till now we had something on psychology, something on child rearing practices and so on. Now let me concentrate on the nutrition and food part of it when the child is, when the mother conceives a child. And of course we all talk about the first 1,000 days of a child's birth, but normally during pregnancy the maximum development of all organs and all systems will take place. So we always have a good diet during pregnancy, and we always say a balanced diet with a balanced mind is essential in the first 3 months, then again next 3 months, and then 3 months. And every 3 months we evaluate the development of the mother, and of course the doctor gives the development of the child. But here my reasoning is, in the first 3 years, many people have some problems. What is there, when the babies really get embedded in the embryo, there will be a number of problems, diet, with regard to diet and the way they eat, and sometimes they don't feel like eating and vomiting and so many other things happen. And this is a psychological impact which occurs in the first 3 months of pregnancy. This is where one has to take very, very important decision on nutrition. So when we talk about nutrition, let me tell you, of course everybody knows it's a balanced diet, and a balanced diet consists of all proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins and so on. And there is actually a set now for first 3 months of pregnancy, next 3 months and next 3 months. So here we concentrate on proteins, and we say so much of at least proteins in the form of vegetable and animal proteins, and those who are vegetarians will concentrate on vegetable proteins and how much and how to cook and how to eat. And when there are certain complications in the first 3 months of pregnancy, we need to see how they can overcome those problems by giving a lot of fluids and see how they can manage with the food that they are eating. And here there are certain, I don't want to talk about the psychological part of it, of any food and digestion and what happens, but let me talk about the physical development of the child. In the early first 3 months when the embryo gets embedded, that is the time where all the systems start developing, both neurological as well as digestive systems, and that is where the concentration on food is very, very important. Of course, I don't want to concentrate more on balanced diet, and it goes on depending upon the mother's weight, mother's health, and sometimes they turn out with diabetes, diabetes during pregnancy and BP, and these are the things where one has to take care with regards to salt and sugar during the diet. But normally, a balanced diet should consist of a good protein. It should be what I told you, it is a complete protein. There are vegetarians, we all talk about non-vegetarian being a good protein, but there are vegetarians. There need to be a combination of a cereal pulse in the ratio of 2:1. 2 cereals and 1 protein to get a complete protein. And that complete protein will help the embryo to develop in the first few months, and there will not be any other problems later. So this is very, very important, and diet during first 3 months is important for the neurological development of the child. And later, of course, the physical development takes place. And after that, let me talk about after that. Well, this is what we have in the, even during pregnancy, everybody I think goes to be on dietitians and nutrition specialists, you know, you have learned a lot of it. But there are certain instances in life, and especially among the society, you come out with various types of problems, not what we get it in the books. These are the things where we need to be very careful, and we have to find out what are they, and there are certain things which the patient does not tell us what is happening, and they do not talk about the food habits that they have. Then there are, if it is a joint family and there are parents, they go on insisting on not to eat certain foods, to eat certain foods, not to, and even after delivery also there are certain restrictions. But now, for all doctor deliveries we say, for hospital deliveries we say there is no restriction with regard to food. Now coming back, let us see how the child progresses in life. Especially we think about the physical and mental, of course, Dr. Caesar and others have already said. So the physical improvement after childbirth, we are talking about 1,000 days. After childbirth is very, very important. There are many people who go on medicines and they think that giving mother's milk is a fashion now. There are quite a good number of people who don't want to give, and with all types of antibiotics which are injected, even the mother's milk comes down and lactation procedure comes down. It is one of the most dangerous parts in the life. That is the period. Mother's milk is very, very important. The very basic thing is when the mother is giving her feed to the child, she cuddles in her own breast, and that is where the psychological impact of the child comes in. That is very, very important. And secondly, they don't, it takes, many takes it as a fashion. Not, of course, these days again we started thinking about saying breast milk important, breast milk, and we start about human milk banks and all that. But one thing I want to say in this to complete, I'm really against human milk banks. I know whatever you may say, because I feel that the mother should give to the maximum extent the mother gets the milk. Let it be years or months or whatever it is. Human milk bank is very dangerous because there are a number of people, especially in rural areas where I have seen, they want to give the milk for sale. Instead of feeding the child, they are taking out the milk and giving it, and that is becoming one of the, and all the necessary programs that we are running to improve the nutritional status of children, we are getting a negative impact because of this particular point. Of course, I may be corrected if I am wrong, but I just wanted to give a few things of my own experiences in the villages and in the lower income group. So the next thing is, that is why I said first year of life is very important to give the mother's milk, because she cuddles in her place, gives the child the milk, and at the same time she talks to the child, and then that is how the psychological impact ingrains into the child in the development of the child. And next thing is, after that, the next point is like weaning the child. See, after 6 months, they have to wean the child to any other artificial feed. Their education is necessary. What type of milk has to be given? Milk or it is to be any type of solid foods can be introduced. That is something one has to be very careful and make the child mother think about it and give them how to feed them, wean the mother from the mother's milk. This is one more point one has to be considered. And here what they do is, there are people who want to breast milk and they go on breast milk after 3 years till they cannot bring the milk. And the other way around is they don't breast milk at all, but put the feed, and that food which is being given to the child is very undernourished type, or it is not properly prepared. Therefore, the child gets into several problems. I was working with an organization in the rural West Coast in 1970s and 75, during that time, we had severe drought in Telangana, especially in the Rajendra and Mitchell class. And I could see children, especially even up to most of, I have found a number of Kwashiorkor, marasmus, and night blindness. All these are vitamin and protein deficiency problems. And we had to teach them. They have never accepted weaning from the mother, and they never accepted any milk. We had to prepare the milk and give. I used to stay in the villages for 1 week to teach them to feed the child with artificial, to wean the child after 6 months. They never did it. And breastfeeding till a long time, it resulted in, without any supplementary feed, it resulted in so many types of diseases. So we had to teach them, give them lessons on how to feed, how to give them types of how to prepare also we had to teach them and see that the mothers feed their children. So there we have started one organization, we said a dairy farm. Dairy, we said we took from Andhra Pradesh State Welfare Association, gave us some money. So we took about 10 women and we started a dairy, and a cooperative society, a dairy, and we made the mothers, I brought the cows from Mungo and put them there in one day, in one village, Maladevapalli. We kept them, and they are supposed to give every day 1 liter of milk to the Marwai. It's compulsory. And then that milk will be given to all the kids who are sitting. We had beautiful results. The children were very active, very good, and that is how they started thinking of giving outside milk to the children. So these are some of the important points. I didn't want to talk about what food has to be given, but I wanted to talk about the other aspects of how food is not being given, or if it is given, it is given in too much. That is, both are giving certain nutritional problems in health and disease. So I hope that there are quite a good number of dietitians here, and many of them are my students who work here, and I hope all of you know what is community nutrition and how nutrition in a community is different from nutrition in a classroom. You need to sit with the parents, see with the society, look with the habits that are happening, and then we need to orient or change our practices to suit them. Then only they will listen to us. Otherwise, they will listen very carefully to whatever lectures we give, whatever things we give. The very next day, everything goes down. They will ask that lady has come and told how can we do. This is a common thing. We have seen it for several years, my practice in all the villages, my experience. But later they started listening and giving the proper, that is what is important, giving a proper diet at a proper place and with a good affection from the mother and other people in the family. That will help them to morally and physically and have developed and mentally develop very well and become good citizens. I got one of these Monday children, two of them. One became an engineer and one became
See, because previously we did not have babies who were saved through newborn intensive care units, NICUs. Now in the NICUs we have 3 kinds of babies. Low birth weight, which is less than 2.5 kilos. Then we have very low birth weight, which is 1750, below 1750, and then we have extremely low birth weight, which is around 1000 grams. Now these are less than that. Even we are able to save babies for 780 grams. These babies do not have buccal musculation. They cannot suck or suckle. For them it is very difficult. For them, breastfeeding is not the solution because they do not have musculature to suck or suckle. In all these newborn intensive care units, wherever they are treating babies extremely low birth weight very low birth weight and low birth weight, premature babies and IUGR babies, intrauterine growth retardation. All these 5 babies are getting formula milk. The role of a milk bank is not just milk bank, but it is comprehensive lactation management center. It is now the guideline of Ministry of Health that every newborn intensive care unit must have a comprehensive lactation management center. It's a guideline by the ministry. So in milk banks, we are not selling milk. In milk banks, we are not selling, not across India. Because this is a pan-India protocol. And there are countries which have done this. For example, in Cambodia, in Vietnam, poor mothers from the rural areas, they sold milk and it was taken to Sweden, Norway and European countries. But in India, luckily, even in the parliament there was a question and the milk should not be sold. So currently the practice is nowhere we are selling milk in India. Somewhere if it is happening, it is a criminal act without the notice of government it is happening. But in all the milk banks across India, it is helping newborn babies who are extremely low birth weight, very low birth weight, premature and IUGR. So this is what I just wanted to put forth before you.
I know, but I don't want to go into all controversies here.
Right, thank you, madam. Thank you.
Because of my own.
Thank you. A big round of applause for Anjali.